Our mission as a church is to love and lead one another to be devoted followers of Jesus. And in doing that, it's all about making disciples. It's about multiplying. It's about adding to what God has begun here, using our gifts, using our talents. And in 2016, our big calling was Sweet 16. We don't want to just grow as a church. We want to grow up. We can't just grow as a church. We have to grow up. And so taking those steps that we need to take in order to make room for people, and by multiplying and training up other leadership. And so that's where God has began us. This year we started with our prayer service. Then we had a harbor meeting in February. We spent a month in the Word together and a month in prayer. And then ultimately on March 13th, if you haven't watched the message, we would love for you guys to do that. It was called Planting and Multiplying. And we shared the vision that God had brought around us to plant and launch a new church. And so we're excited about that. And the three things we were praying about is, God, do you want us to launch a new church? Do you want us to start a multi-site? Or have you called us to secure long-term property or facility for Rock Harbor? And we feel like it very well could be all of those, but the one he's placed right in front of us right now is to launch a new church. And so we're excited about that. And we've been asking people to begin to pray about those things. And we're praying that 200 to 300 people would be sent out and give this new church a big launch. And so Doug's going to share a little bit about his calling in being our church planter.
Yeah, so we're really excited about what God is doing and has already done for this new church. And, maybe you haven't heard kind of what's going on. Maybe you're new with us, but as Keith said, we're planning a new church. And God has really put in us a burning desire for this valley. My wife and I, along with this church, Rock Harbor, and other people, but specifically like in South Meridian and South Boise. So we're really excited about that. It's growing like crazy out there, just like it is growing like crazy out here. And there are a few churches, but there's not a lot of churches in that area. So we believe that it's a prime area for God to do his work and the gospel to be spread, and that we have the opportunity to be hope and life for people there. So we're really excited about this. This is a Rock Harbor launch. Yeah. Maybe you've been part of a church before where people have kind of not got along and they left, and then they went and started a new church, and it was kind of called a split, or there was disunity. This is not that. Keith and I are not having a divorce, okay? So we are in unity. Our relationship is as good as it's ever been, and we're really excited about it.
Except for you went to Cabo with your wife last week and not me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, things
Besides
are great.
That's cool.
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Keith's dealing with some bitterness issues too, so we're going to pray for that. But we're really excited about it, and there really is unity. And if you're wondering, like, okay, what's going on behind the scenes? There's nothing. It's just we believe that God has called us to this. And so we encourage you as a church, if you hear of anybody saying, hey, well, Doug and Keith aren't getting along, or the elders or the leadership, that's not true. And so we want to make sure that we squash any kind of gossip or rumor around that, because we believe that God is doing something great. Our elders and our leadership team, our staff team, we're all in unity in this, and we're excited about what God's going to do. So the next thing was, what's going to be called? What are we going to call this new church? And so we've been taking some suggestions and some names, and people have been telling us. We had this list we created, started praying through it, and we decided that the name is going to be, my son Chris came up to me a few weeks ago and was like, hey, Dad, what about this name of this church? And we're like, oh, okay. Well, so we put it on the list, and we began to pray through it. And so as we began to pray through the names, we prayed with our staff, Rock Harbor staff. We prayed with some friends that are going to be part of the church plant. And God just kept on bringing us back to this name that my son, who's 15 years old, suggested to us. And so we prayed about it, and the name is actually going to be Stonehill Church. And so we have the graphic. Chris Easley did a great job with it. So we're really super excited. Yeah, let's clap for that. We're super excited about it. I went back to my son Chris, and after we kind of were seriously thinking about it, and I said, Chris, why did you think of that name? How did it come to you? And he's like, well, Dad, Jesus is our cornerstone. Ephesians 2:20. He didn't say that verse, but he said Jesus is cornerstone, and then he said we're supposed to be a city on a hill. And so in Matthew 5:14, and I was like, that's pretty good. I mean, I already knew that, of course, but it was good to hear him say that. And so we're really excited about the name. We wanted a name with meaning. We wanted a name that maybe 500,000 other churches didn't have. It was kind of more unique, but we also wanted a name that didn't sound too churchy, and we feel like God has given to us. So we're really excited about that. And then the next step was we've been praying about where are we going to start, the location. I mean, it's not, the church isn't the building, but you have to meet somewhere. And so we're like, where is God going to take us? And so we've been praying about that. And we met with the principal of Victory Middle School, which is a new middle school that they're building behind the Walmart Overland, close to Roaring Springs over there, and we are starting a partnership with them. So we're going to be meeting at Victory Middle School, and we're super excited about that. God keeps just opening doors for us, and we're looking forward to that. And then finally, the timeline. Keith will talk about initially in the next couple weeks about how you can get involved. But what we're going to do in the month of May, June, and July, we're going to start meeting a few times here and there for relationship building, for vision casting. And in the month of August, we're going to meet together on a few Sunday nights, and we're going to vision cast. We're going to get people plugged in. We're going to flesh out everything that's happening. And then the last week of August, tentatively, we're going to be meeting starting on a Sunday morning, August, I think, 28th. We're going to meet that morning and start what we call a soft launch. And we're going to go in and kind of get things. We're going to meet together, worship together, but we're also going to get the feel of what this is going to be all about. And then on Sunday, September 25th, we're going to meet that. It's going to be our grand opening, and we're going to get a full-blown kind of out, invite your friends. And so we're really, really excited about it. And we're just thankful for the opportunity. And I want to say one last thing is I don't know if I hope we truly understand how cool this is. There's not a lot of churches that are doing this, where they're planting a church in the same community, in the same town. I know it's the opposite side of town. It's just not normal. And if maybe you've had experiences this and maybe there have been a negative, this is very positive, and I'm blown away. It's very biblical. It's beautiful. And I think there needs to be some credit due to the leadership of Rock Harbor Church, Keith Harrington and our elders, for being so open-handed. And so can we just celebrate that together? That's just awesome. Yeah.
I love the name because Doug has always been a stoner, and I've been a rocker, so I think it's really great. It's about time you come out and be honest.
Wait, we know the truth here. If you've been here not long enough, you know it's the opposite.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say
whatever. But we're very, very excited about it. And just to be able to see the partnership, I mean, when I shared that stat that I saw from Barna, that our city is the 28th least church city in the nation, that's crazy. And so we need more churches. We need people to gather, scatter, and matter all around. And so getting to partner with a lot of local church plants has been great from a financial, a leadership standpoint, but to plant our own is very, very special. And so these are days we've been praying and preparing for since the beginning of Rock Harbor. One thing we're praying towards is from the financial standpoint. And so beginning next week, we're going to be receiving offerings through like a kind of a recruiting, whether you're going to Stonehill or you're not, but we're inviting people to give and to help fund Stonehill. And so what that is that's giving through Rock Harbor to Stonehill. They're not ready yet. We've got to get some paperwork and some legalities taken care of for them to receive checks and all that. But if you notate on your check, there'll also be a line if you give online. Doug cannot take cash. Heather can. Yeah. And so, but we just invite you to partner with that. We know that the startup, it might be around $150,000 for the launch. And what we're praying is that God would bring the resources around that, because we want to be able to provide some staffing and to be able to have part-time staff or full-time for sure, Doug. And so that's part of it. And people have asked that question, who from staff is going? At this point, no one from staff is going except for Doug, but we're praying that God would give us the resource that we could provide staff, whether that's through Rock Harbor or it's finding people out there that can serve in children's music, whatever those needs possibly are. And so we're inviting people to just really fund this. Let's make this thing happen. And then also from a personal involvement standpoint, people have expressed interest and said, hey, we are praying about this, or we're thinking about this, or Doug, we are going, we are being sent. And we're excited about that. Next week, there's going to be an insert in the bulletin that talks about ways that we can, one, be involved at Rock Harbor, but also be involved in Stonehill, because God is multiplying. As much as 200 to 300 people could go out, that means 200 to 300 people need to step in and begin to serve in ministry and replace. And so if you know that God has directed you towards Stonehill, we're inviting you to stay involved at Rock Harbor until the launch of Stonehill and look at ways of how you can replace yourself. This is making disciples. This is the Sweet 16. This is, I don't want to just grow as a church, I want to grow up. And so we're given an incredible opportunity to be a part of this. And this is something that has to be bathed in prayer. It can't be like, oh, new church plant, that's so sexy and cool. It's not that sexy, and it's not that cool. I'm just being honest. But it needs to be something that we really authentically pray about and we're sent out. And then also thinking, what are ways that we can begin to fill in the needs? God's going to provide it. We absolutely believe that, but we're going to be the resource through which that he's going to bring his blessing. And so those are the things we're asking everyone to pray about. And then keep in mind all of the things in the future as we partner with other church plants. And the three things we prayed about. Are we supposed to plant a church? The answer is yes. Right now, September 25th, let's get rolling on it. Is Rock Harbor going to do a multi-site? Quite possibly. And that may be happening in the next year. We may be meeting and having another location that's rolling. We may secure property soon. We don't know. Our hands are very open. We haven't said, okay, we're only planting a church, that's it. We're open to whatever God's leading us towards. But we don't want to put together the plans of man or some strategic component to multiplying here. Let's let God lead that. So let's pray together towards it. God, we believe that you've just begun some incredible work here, and we know that from the onslaught of Rock Harbor and long before, you prepared this valley. And so we're praying for South Meridian. We're praying for our city, North Meridian, all around the surrounding community. We want to be a light. We want to get your truth out. We have some incredible churches we get to partner with. We're not the only thing in town, but we want to be on mission with what you're doing and just follow you. And we believe that you're working here. Thank you for the clarity that you've brought to these callings and the work that you're doing, and Doug and Heather, and with this team that's being sent out, and just our preparation over the next 5 months. It's crazy to think that this is going to be a multiplication, and we're pregnant with a baby, and now we know our baby's name. And pray for Stonehill and Rock Harbor Church. We ask this in your name, amen.